Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the stripping is done, we'll take our leave and go. Ahoy, meteos! Welcome to Rogue Mother Rising. It's February 21st, 2026, 2:46 a.m. pirate time. Okay, so I've been thinking, I've been researching, I've been Googling, I've been talking to ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT after doing a little bit of research, how come mothers like me didn't speak up back then and say that we need institutions? Where were they? Did they forget they had children that needed care because they were in the institution? I don't know. I don't think they forgot, but how come they didn't speak out? I wanted to know why. And ChatGPT says, oh, I hear the pain behind that question. It's a mix of frustration, grief, and real insight. You're asking about history, but what you're really asking is, where was the support for parents like me when deinstitutionalization happened? And why didn't anyone create a safe option for high-need kids? The answer is layered. It's not that parents forgot their children. It's that society, policy, and advocacy created a narrative and a system that made speaking up nearly impossible or even shameful. Let me unpack this carefully. Historical context, deinstitutionalization. In the 1960s through the 1990s, large state institutions like Willowbrook State School and Penhurst State School and Hospital were exposed for horrific abuse and neglect. Advocacy and media rightly focused on ending systemic harm, creating a wave of deinstitutionalization. I can see it now. The philosophy shifted to community inclusion, the idea that people with disabilities should not be warehoused but live in homes integrated with society. And indeed, they have done that. Why parents often didn't speak up. Public narrative and shame. And I can say I can see that. Saying, I want staffed institutional-style home for my child could make a parent look like they wanted to lock their child away. Society was very judgmental. If you cared about your child's safety but wanted stability over ideology, you risked being labeled oppressive and anti-integration. And that's what I am, because I think that is appropriate for some clients and parents. Did you know that we have a National Day of Filicide? National Day of Filicide Day now. It's for mourning the disabled kids that were killed by their parents and caregivers. That tells me there's a big problem. Parents don't usually kill their kids. I know there's the nutty ones, but we're talking about a very specific group of parents with a very specific set of children with very, very high needs. My child is not as severe as some of these kids. I see the videos. They scream. They're smashing in their face. They're smashing in walls. They're hitting their parents. And parents are not supposed to, say anything like, I can't do this. They're doing all that stuff and parents have no support. People say, they're your children. You raised them. Yes, I understand that. But at a certain point, society decided, this is a natural thing that happens. That doesn't mean the parents, have to be driven to filicide. There should be some place for these children to go before their parents are driven completely out of their minds. Lack of a platform. There weren't organized advocacy networks for parents and for family disabled children. Most parent groups were small, local, and had very little access to legislators. Voices that were heard were often self-advocates, adults who could speak for themselves, not parents of nonverbal or high support children. They shut them down. They're not going to shut me down. Systemic silence. Funding for community-based services was promoted as a solution. No one was offering a clear, well-funded alternative to institutions. Parents had to navigate bureaucracy alone and were often told, you can't do it at home. The state will provide supports. If you spoke up, the system could respond with, institutions are abusive. Your child belongs in community. Just like they tell me, they can go to strip clubs. Sit down and shut up, you ableist mother. The ethical paradox of the time. Parents were caught in a bind. Want institutions? Publicly criticized, seen as wanting to segregate their children. Support new community model? Risk overwhelming responsibility, burnout, and lack of safety for their child. And for this part where segregate their children, I can tell you in my own case, society has segregated him and me. The missing high support infrastructure. Even if parents had spoken up, there was no funding or policy framework to create small, stable, medically staffed campuses for lifelong support. Legislators were focused on closing warehouses and paying for home-based small community group homes. Workforce issues, low pay, high turnover, weren't prioritized. Essentially, the demand existed, but the system could not or would not build supply. It was not forgetfulness. It was policy and funding failure combined with a cultural narrative that shamed realistic parental concerns. And they're still doing it. They're doing it to me. That's why this channel exists. Why my question matters now. Today we know the system is underfunded, overstretched, and dangerous for high support needs individuals. Parents like you are finally saying, we need safe, stable, medically staffed homes for some of our children, not just small community homes that can't handle extreme needs. That conversation was muted for decades because the dominant narrative framed institutional care as morally wrong, even when some children needed it. So they can go by morals, but I can't? The historical lesson is painful. Parents were not wrong. The system never truly gave them a safe option to speak their truth or secure high-level care. So, okay, if you want, I can map out how to think about high-risk support options today in Oregon, showing where parents can legally advocate for stability and prevent unsafe placements. Basically, the institution light model you've been imagining, but fully legal and monitored. Do you want me to do that? Sure, let's check into that. But I am going to be signing off, but we'll just see this real quick. Perfect. Let's break this down clearly so you have a practical map of how parents of high support needs children can protect them in Oregon today, legally, safely, and with oversight. Guardianship and legal authority, why it matters. If your child cannot safely consent or understand community risks, guardianship gives you the legal authority to approve or refuse placements, control medical care, control community outings and safe decisions, advocate for specialized staffing levels. And I did that. I got guardianship. Options in Oregon. Full guardianship gives you comprehensive decision-making authority for an adult child. And then they have limited plenary guardianship, can be customized to medical, residential, or behavioral. And then they have supported decision-making, less common for high support needs adults, but sometimes integrated with guardianship. To keep all decisions documented, agencies respond better to written, legally backed guidance. Residential options for high support needs. Oregon has tiers of residential care. Small group home, 4 to 6 residents. Community integration. Can be unstable for high support kids. Staff turnover is high. Children's Extraordinary Needs Program. Paid parent caregiving for children with extreme support needs. And they can provide safety at home until specialized placement is available. Oh, I didn't know that children's extraordinary need was only until they have a place for them. I wrote a letter. I helped lobby for them to get that. And I'll read that on my channel someday. I think this video is getting long. I'm going to finish this, then we're going to be done. Stabilization and crisis units. State-run units for individuals in acute crisis. Limited beds designed for temporary but intensive support. So that's no good. Intensive residential treatment, IRT. Community integrated 24/7 homes. On-site behavioral and medical staff often include BCBAs. Rare slots often requires advocacy through Disability Rights Oregon. Huh. Intensive residential treatment. I'm not real happy with Disability Rights Oregon. They told me to go kick rocks. See, they're on the side of the disabled person, which I understand that. But like I say, the people in wheelchairs, the people that are deaf, the people that are blind, the people that have spicy autism do not speak for me and my son. And Disability Rights Oregon needs to realize that. I speak for my son. I'm his mother. He can't advocate for himself. And for them to tell me to go kick rocks has made me very upset as a mother. Very upset. My leverage points as a parent. Document needs clearly, medical fragility, behavioral risk, communication limitations, track incidents and staff requirements, push for IRT or SACU if community group homes cannot safely support your child. And no, they cannot. When they're going to monthly strip club night with the clients and care providers from around town to enjoy together, to me that's not safe. It's not safe for any of them. Oversight and safety protections. Even in a high-level placements, you can ensure safety. Even in high-level placements, you can ensure safety. Really. Care plans. Require individualized care plans, including medical, behavioral, and emergency procedures. Staffing ratios. Specify minimum staff-to-client ratios. Track shift coverage. Community access and outings. Require pre-approval for any outings, specific limits on adult venues if your child cannot consent. Monitoring and reports. Insist on incident logs, behavior tracking, and daily or weekly reporting to guardians. Licensing complaints. DHS licensing can investigate violations, document everything. Tip. Ask each provider up front, how do you protect children who cannot safely consent? Advocacy and legal support. Disability Rights Oregon provides legal advocacy and can intervene if placements are unsafe. They didn't help me. State System of Care Advisory Council. State System of Care Advisory Council. Parents can submit input on strategic plans and policies. Parent networks. Groups like ARC and the local IDD parent associations or regional advocacy coalitions can share provider reviews and staffing realities. Proactive step. Join policy advisory or parent councils. Your voice can help shape guidelines for high-need placements. Planning for long-term stability. Because high-support children may need 24/7 care for life, document every incident, medical need, and behavior pattern to justify higher-level placement. Explore multiple funding options, Medicaid waivers, Children Extraordinary Need Program, private funding. Consider continuity clauses in care agreements that prevent unnecessary moves or field trips that your child cannot safely navigate. Build relationships with providers who are willing to adapt care specifically for your child's developmental level. Well, they don't want to adapt care. They want to take over the rules. They want to tell me what the rules are. And I don't think so. Key principle, stability is legal plus administrative plus emotional. Guardrails protect your child when staff or agencies change. Field trip outing controls, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line, guardianship, care plan, and advocacy is the strongest protective framework, and I'm doing that. All right, and here's a step-by-step parent action map for Oregon in 2026, showing exactly how to document the needs, how to request high-tier placement, how to control outings and staffing, how to involve disability rights or the state system of care. It would be a practical guide you could use today. I'm not going to do that. I'm not sure how long this video is going on, but I want to get all this out there because as I'm talking through all this stuff, I'm absorbing it more. So when I work on getting these changes or helping to get these changes, I have a little bit of knowledge on my side as well. Parents of severe disabled children, high needs children, they need more help. Group homes are not safe. They are not safe for somebody like my child. And my intention is to get some kind of a safety needs village. They need like villages around the state where people can go live like it's a Club Med. People like my son, who's very innocent, very kind, very sweet, never screams, never hits a wall, none of that stuff. But he's very, very vulnerable. So he would need to be in a place with other people like him that are vulnerable. He's got VR, and he's made some friends on VR, but they don't last long because my son is, he's just different. He's very innocent. He's like a 4 or 5 year old. When he talks to you, he repeats things over and over and, like a small child. So he has trouble even keeping friends in his own community, not for fights, but just because, it's like a version of 50 First Dates. It's over and over and over every day. That's what I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with anger or smashed walls. I'm dealing with my son is very sad because now he has no day activity group, which I think I'm just going to bite the bullet and sign him up to the other one that said that they had to have the ISP, that the brokerage says they never give out the ISP. I think I'm just going to break down and take him. He'll go there 5 times a month. And what I'll do is, since the brokerage can't give him his ISP and they won't let him go without the ISP, the brokerage told me that we could just hand them the ISP. So I guess we'll do that. I don't know how any of this keeps the client safe. That's the big problem. There's a complete catastrophic failure to keep the client safe, let alone what the parents think or want, or anything like that. That's why there's a day of filicide now, because parents, when they're at their wits' end, are told, that's your kid, deal with it. So they did. That's life. Thanks for going on my ship. Have a nice day, and I'll see you on the next sail. Ahoy, mateos, sail away.